Okay, so on the day 4 of this FTP, the first speaker for the day today is Professor Ravi Mittal. So Professor Ravi Mittal is a visiting professor in IIT Goa. He obtained his PhD in computer science from IIT Delhi in 1990. Then he had completed his MTech and B earlier from University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, and University of Jabalpur respectively. Before joining IIT Goa, he was a visiting professor at IIT Mandi. And even before that, he has had a very long stint in the industry. He has served as managing director and global member of executive team, as well as founder board member of IP Infusion Software India Private Limited. He served as a director with Nokia, the Symbian OS team. Some of you may remember the Symbian OS uh, that used to come on certain smartphones. He was also vice president of Symbian Software. Before that, he was in senior leadership roles of assistant vice president and director at Ericent Electronic Software Systems, and then Hughes, which became Flextronic Software Systems, and then Hughes Software Systems. He also served as IBM Global Services India and a few other corporate roles in companies like DSQ and Hughes Software Systems. So Professor Mittal has a very rich industry experience, and he continues to share his industry experience as in and bring that perspective uh, in the courses that he teaches at IIT Goa. So with this, I would like to welcome Professor Mittal on behalf of everyone. His talk is related to IoT security. So welcome, Professor Mittal, and over to you for your talk.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, just a minute. Give me one more minute. I'm just opening my presentation. Hello. Can you see the presentation?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, all right. Just a minute. All right. Thank you. Just give me a minute. Ajay. Hello. Can you see the presentation, Sharad?
Yes, I can see the presentation and I can also hear you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning. Wishing you a very happy Diwali and festive season ahead. Sorry for delay. Let's start. So today's topic is about IoT security, and I'm sure you would have come to know about what IoT. Uh, and then we'll also look at how to make IoT more secure. All right. So let's start. The contents are very simple, without too many jargons. We'll first see what are the threat attack surface. Basically, what are the points where attack can be done, and if you then there are other topics which we'll discuss as we go through. These are all related topics. Okay, so please feel free to ask me question in between if any difficulty in understanding. Okay, first thing is that let's start with a scenario, a very simple scenario. You know, it's about unwanted resident robber at your home. Okay, question is that when we live in our home, we don't want unwanted people. Okay, especially people who are of not good character, right? So we don't. Okay, we don't share any secret with the thief. And if we know that the person who is living with us for some reason or other is trying to steal our details, like bank account details or emails or messages or transactions or whatever, and watching everything we are doing, what do we do then? Okay, we try to get rid of that unwanted thief or robber. Okay, uh, and in order to do that, or the person who is trying to come inside or see, I mean, we secure our home, right? We and valuables at home need to be protected, like, and all these valuables in home are gold, silver, jewelry, cash, etc., and some electronics maybe. And then how do we protect our homes nowadays? Our traditional home, we put a lock and make sure the doors are strong, then window grills such that thief cannot come inside. Then of course we have a locker where we put all jewelry, etc., right, and so on. Okay, so the attack surface or the points where thief can or the robber can come inside and steal are doors, windows, locks, back doors, etc. Okay, so these are the places which are exploited by thief, and that's what we call as threat attack surface, right? And then question is that who can come and steal our stuff from home? And it's very rare today, right? That, I mean, I like 30 years back we used to hear so much of stealing, etc., but nobody is stealing. Very few cases we see stealing, and the thief or the robber is only from the local village or city and so on, right? So that's the scenario, and we are quite safe with these mechanisms that we have. And very rarely we hear about somebody's house is broken and things have been stolen, right? So now let's look at the situation for thief, right? I mean, thief has to work really hard to steal valuables from home. He or she has to plan when to do and how to get into your house and how to be your guest and all that. And it's not easy. Okay, when the thief has better option. Okay, and the thief, why not thief rob you fully instead of just stealing, maybe some. Why not rob, empty your total bank account and credit card, steal your credentials fully, right? And and then record your personal conversations, and then ask money for in lieu of that, right? And get all your credentials, which you are using nowadays, like your home address, your Aadhaar card, passport numbers, etc., etc., bank numbers, bank account numbers, ATM card numbers, ATM pins, and whatever. Okay, and then sell this somewhere, right? Or use them. See, once all your credentials are known, then a lot of frauds can happen. Okay, and it can be sold in dark web, or the web part of the web is not easily visible to us. Like you would have heard that recently one company's uh, big basket, uh, whoever the customers of big basket, their all account details have been stolen and is available in dark web for some small amounts, $30,000 or something, right? It means that whatever information we had given to big basket, all that is available to criminals. nevertheless, right? So the question is that now, who can rob us, right? I mean, if all this that we discuss can happen, then the question is that who are the people who can rob us, who can empty our bank accounts and credit card limits can be reached and all that. And we can see that these are not the thieves or the neighborhood thieves. Anybody sitting anywhere in the world can steal our credentials. And now our target or the attack surface area grown so big that anywhere, any person sitting in the world can steal from us. And these criminals, pretty criminal, somebody is, say maybe few thousand from home. That's not the case. These are all corporatized. This business, okay, grand scales, and some governments are also involved, like some government would also. And then, whatever we have won, or transfer the shares that we have bought, or use a credit card, then why not? Local police cannot do anything about it, right? So the question is that all this happening, and what are we doing it about?
Professor Mittal, I think you will need to reshare your presentation.
Okay, it's not visible.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Just a minute. Just give me a minute. Yeah. PPT नहीं दिख रहा, just a minute. Is it visible now, Sharad?
No, it's not visible.
Okay, all right. Let me just move. Something is wrong today. Just a minute. Let's go to screen share. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Okay. Let me just. Thank you very much. Sorry about it. I have just switched my laptop, so kind of causing problem. All right.
No problem.
All right. So we have been here that I mean anywhere in the world can rob us, and why shouldn't we do? Okay, because we are allowing them. Can ask me is that how are we really allowing people to rob us? So the question that we have, yes, we have been allowing them. Bother to put in our home, right? To the question, there are a lot of ways this is happening, and one of that is the bots. Or bots are nothing but a small software deliberately planted to your devices. Okay, and the role of this bot is malicious bot is to do malicious activities, like they will steal from you, or they will participate in some kind of criminal activity, and so on. Okay, okay. So now this is in okay. Do we have bot in my machine? You have to. Okay. Now the question is, and what are we doing now? The point is that the country, that was the largest number of bots in India just 2 months back. Number of bots working for some cyber criminal sitting somewhere in North America or China. So, that have good number of bots for cyber criminals, and yeah, third largest country that has a very large number of bots. If you click on the link here, at the bottom, you find out the present status of which country is having largest number of bots. Very malicious bot working, then the question is, do we have bot in my machine or our machines? Okay. Yes, we will might have, and there's a very huge probability, because how can there be so many bots working different machines? Okay, and obviously now COVID-19 infected people, although it's not right comparison, but still much of virus and infected machines are available to do malicious activities. So we come to the next point, is that if we don't anything, it does not mean it's not visible to us, right? So just tell you about a little bit about botnet. Botnet is a network of bots controlled by attacker to perform coordinated malicious activities. Okay, it's a popular platform for most internet attacks and frauds. Now all these bots that we show here, okay, are sitting in different machines or different IoT devices all over the world, right? And what happens is available in your mobile phone, or maybe router or webcam and home security system, home appliances like refrigerator, washing machine, ovens, cars, medical devices, or any device that's connected to internet. Okay, so these are very dangerous places, right? And huge number of routers are sitting now in India in Wi-Fi router. If you have a DSL or maybe fiber connection, broadband connection to your home coming over cable, and I'm sure you might have connected connected a Wi-Fi router to that. Okay, and there's a place bots are sitting nowadays, right? Because the router has fairly good computing engine or processor, and bot finds there's a nice place to be there, right? Because it's a nice place because this malicious bot can see what all you're sending. Okay, it can see your user ID, password, your bank account number, your bank details, which not only you but the family members, and it's collecting all this information and sending it to the master somewhere in some other country or in the same. Okay, so now once your password etc. are available to people outside, then it's very simple for them to use it for malicious activities like taking away money from your, right? So that's one example. Routers or Wi-Fi routers can participate in stealing all the information. Why not your mobile phone? Element, maybe bot or maybe more intelligent element is sitting in your mobile phone, and through mobile phone, the criminal can make an activity to your bank. It can connect to the bank, get the information, because login ID always available, and then time password we can also read. So then you're sleeping all the time. So I'm giving you a very scenario, kind of scenario which happened and which are happening. And then, these malicious elements not only harm you, but also harm others sitting at your end, because you have allowed them free food in the sense that you have given them free electricity, you have given them computing resources, memory and processing power, and they are also using your internet. Okay. So they can use your devices to do all uh, so it means that your machine now can harm machine side. Doing it, participating in an attack is like this. There is a machine in that needs to be blocked or disabled. Okay, it may be, for example, doing some important activity. Okay. So now what it can or master has put in the resources or bots all over the place. I mean, the largest botnet could be more than 1,000,000 bots, 1 lakh bots. All these bots get instruction from master and then can send it to the machine to be attacked. Okay, so these will do very simple activity of sending a request. Okay, maybe, and as a result of that, the central machine will be attacked. Okay.
Professor Mittal, you are not audible.
Okay, all right. Okay, again. All right, just give me. Okay, let me just switch. All right. Can you hear me now? Sharad?
Professor Mittal, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But can you hear me? Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. It's all going. Are you muted? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? No. इधर से कनेक्ट है उसको स्विच कर दे उससे ओके कैन यू हियर मी hello hello can you see the presentation hello Sharad
No sir.
okay all right can you hear me now
Yeah, you're audible, but sometimes your voice is breaking.
okay all right can you see the presentation also
Yes.
I'm sorry this little doesn't happen normally but it's happening today kind of just a minute okay I hope now it works still presentation all right so thank you all right so you can see the diagram and then you can see that all these bots are there to make an attack okay and these bots have been planted by the criminal, right? So all these bots participate in criminal activity of attacking a server. Okay, and this is not really a desirable thing. Okay, can you see the simulation, the attack being done? Okay, can you see this slide malware residing in your router? Hello, Sharan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The slide is visible.
Malware is residing in your router, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So malware sitting in Wi-Fi router can see all what we are doing. Okay, and it can actually, and there are a lot of other things it can do. For example, when you are making a request to say some google.com, okay, and then it can forward your request to a malicious site, which looks very similar to google.com or amazon.com, or even when you're making a request to say your bank, it can uh, transfer your request to a website which looks exactly like your bank. Okay, so and when you enter credentials, it will steal all the data from that. Okay, and this is so all this can cause a lot of harm. And the worst thing is that it can display some inappropriate ads, pornographic ads, and many others, right? And the question that I'm asking you is that did you set the password of your Wi-Fi router? How many of you have done that? See, note that any device that is on internet will have a device password. Okay, so Wi-Fi router has, you need to set two passwords, one for Wi-Fi channels that are visible to you outside, we call it SSID, and second is for device itself, which is on internet. Okay, so in India, last number of people don't set their device password. Okay, and they leave it default like admin and password. User ID would be admin and password would be just password, which is default password given by the company like AirTel or whatever who has supplied you the device. So as a result of that, we are not locking our device. It's visible to everybody outside. Okay, and then why not bot come and sit there? So maybe one thing you can do is that if you have a broadband connection at home, check whether you have set the device password or not. Okay, and if not, then find out that how to set the password, and you can do that very easily. All right, and these threats that we have discussed so far are not limited only to the money, bank, and the wealth, because what we have discussed is that about the money. How about somebody is having pacemaker, and the pacemaker has a microprocessor, and that's connected to internet, and if that is hacked, okay, or somebody who is using say insulin pump, okay, and of course controlled by your maybe cell phone or mobile phone, and if that is hacked, so devices which are connected to network can always be hacked, and it can cause lot of damage, right? It can take the lives. Okay, imagine for example cyber criminal attack in nuclear power plant. Okay, uh, and it happened in India in 2019. If cyber criminals have access to nuclear power plant, they can do great damage. Okay, all right. Let's move ahead. Uh, and then, what is the reason for all this? Okay. Can you see this slide called "Every device is becoming smart"? Can you see this slide?
No, sir.
Okay, okay, you are still in. I'm okay. Just a minute. All right, just a minute. I have moved ahead. Just a minute. Okay. All right. Can you see it now? Are threats limited to money bank?
So we can see your PPT, sir. We can't see the slide. We are seeing your
Oh,
PPT right now.
okay. Okay. Can you see? Did you set the password of your Wi-Fi router?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's
Okay. All right. So next one is not coming. Then just a minute. Okay. Are threats limited to money bank and wealth? Can you see that?
yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next slide is that these threats are not limited to money alone. Okay, these threats are threats can happen to our lives as well. Okay, and because the devices, every device is becoming smart. Okay, say for example, okay, this point we have already discussed that nuclear power plants are getting attacked, and they are getting almost like 30 attacks per day. Okay, and then every device is becoming smart. Okay, say for example, a car is becoming a smart car. Can you believe that a car has more than 100 million lines of code? Huge amount of code, right? It has 20 computers working inside. It has a local area network. Some cars have multiple local area networks, and the multiple processes are connected to internet. Okay, now there is a possibility that you are driving a car, and then suddenly you'll find it stopped in the middle of road, because cyber criminals from anywhere, if they are able to access the car, then they can jam the brake, they can do a lot of things, they can do a lot of damage, right? They can lock the doors, in fact, and then ask you to transfer money, and only then disable the doors. It happened in a hotel in I think it was in Finland, wherein cyber criminal locked the doors of all the guests who are inside, because all these locks are electronic locks. Okay, control from somewhere, and then they asked the manager or management to pay the significant amount of money. Only then they doors would be disabled or made open, right? So these kind of things are happening everywhere now, because things are becoming smart things. Say for example, mobile phones that we see as a phone is actually a huge computer, right? It's a more powerful than supercomputer of 60s, and it has more than 15 million lines of code. Okay, so essentially we can say it is a computer that does a lot of things, including video calls, video processing, camera, and all that, and also makes phone call. Okay, so it is, and there are huge number of applications that mobile phones are supporting, right? Uh, and as a result of that, huge number of mobile malwares are available, right? Like we can see that number of malwares in this curve is really going up. Right. So let's move ahead, and then we see that every device is becoming a smart device. Like aeroplane are becoming. Actually, we can say aeroplane is a computer that can fly. Refrigerator is a computer that cools things down. Microwave oven is a computer that heats things up. House locks are computers that locks doors, and so on and so forth, right? And as a result of that, any one of these has security threat and can participate in cybercrime. All right. So let's and why is this happening? Okay, because internet is going everywhere and everything is becoming smart. Okay, as a result of that, uh, number of machine to machine connections are growing. Okay, we can see that number of connections have now grown up to almost like 14.7 billion. It means that number of connection between machines is significantly more than number of connection we have to internet, or humans have to the internet. Okay, And we can see by 2023 there will be 1.8 machine-to-machine connections for each person. Okay, right now we may have one or two mobile connection. Each one is internet. It's a huge number. So now we have a world where every device is becoming smart and getting connected to internet. Okay, and then this and that's what we call IoT, or uh, Internet of Things. It means anything which it could be analog in nature, like your mobile camera, or maybe a simple camera, or maybe some instrument that we are using, or within a car, for example, temperature sensor and all that will have an embedded computer, and then these embedded computers will be connected over internet. So IoT, of course, I'm sure you would have gone through this kind of presentation wherein definition of IoT is given, like it will have surely a sensor, it will have processor and memory, because a sensor is sensing something, or that data will be converted in digital form, must be stored somewhere, and then must be processed, and the result must be fed somewhere, right? So uh, the results usually go to actuator in some form, which actually again do the right things. For example, temperature control is to be done, then temperature data is coming from sensor, and then it will increase the airflow, or temperature control mechanisms, right? And of course, when all these things are there, these are not working in isolation, they are connected over internet or connecting network. Okay, so these devices are very small, and they are thin, and they have very less memory, and these most of these devices have not been developed by IT companies by 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 whatever, because of business constraint, and these are generally low cost, and hence nobody has thought about their security, and they are very easy to hack. Okay, all right. So what is the impact of this internet? Impact of internet is that there is a huge attack surface. So now all these devices that we have at home, in offices, or even car, they are all available on internet. It means that anybody, any criminal sitting anywhere can control these activities. Okay, so there is a huge attack surface, and then criminals have choice where to attack. Okay, uh, okay, so they have asymmetric advantage. Now, say for example, I am providing a security to the campus where I work. Then what I am going to do as a security in charge, I will put few security guards at different places. Okay, for example, at the main gate, and maybe at the somewhere else, right? But campus has a boundary of almost like 2 kilometers, or and big campuses may have 10 kilometers long boundary. The criminals have always advantage of coming from anywhere, not necessarily coming through main gate. Okay, so it means that criminals have lot of advantage over the protectors. Okay, so we may protect only few parts of the campus, but they can come from anywhere. So they have asymmetric advantage, and that advantage has grown multifold because of internet. Wherever internet is available, the criminal sitting there have access to your home, your office, your bank, and so on. All right. So attack scenarios have gone up significantly, and the whole activity is not very simple anymore. Okay, for example, cyber criminals can gather information. Okay, they will take sometimes months to gather information about the target. Okay, and in the process they may be gathering information from different targets, and then they have to identify one particular target. Okay, and then about that particular target they get lot more information. Okay, it's like a research work. Okay, and then look at the vulnerabilities, where the weak link in the whole setup. Okay, for example, somebody wants to come into our campus, then possibly will survey what is the best way to get into. Okay, and then next step is of course compromise the network. How to get into it. Okay, and say for example, one example could be a backdoor. See, every building has a backdoor. Similarly, most of the devices have backdoor. Now, say for example, there was an experiment done, and the challenge was given to a security company to break into security of one large organization. Okay, and they use a social engineering method to get into the company. Social engineering method is as follows, right? The person who wants to hack or get into acted like a smoker, and every company has few smokers, right? And they gather at certain point in time, say like my company where I work, their time was around 11 a.m. in the morning. So all of you will get out and then mingle with each other and then come back. Now, if you mingle with, you act as a company employee and have a company card, which is some kind of fraudulent card, then you mingle with them and walk with them into the, through back door, and nobody will notice it. And this has been used hundreds of times, this method. Okay. Similarly, every device that we use may have some user ID password there for the company which has developed this machine to directly get into it. So, and then sometimes government wants this backdoor. Like there have been a case between Apple and Apple company that makes handset or mobile phone and US government about not, Apple didn't allow US government to have a backdoor. Okay, so the backdoors are available in most of the devices, and then if somehow criminal can get hold of backdoor, then they can get into the device. Okay, and then as a result of that, now criminal can get into any device, right? Or the device which or the systems which they have targeted, and they can plant their own software out there and can do any kind of harm. And from the remote place, they can control the whole thing. Say, for example, Big Basket was controlled by cyber criminals. How would have that? They would have spent months to find out what is a weak hole or weak place, and then once they have got the entry, they could lock in. They could collect. Would have planted some software which would have monitored their activity for many days. Only then they have announced that we have done certain harm, and then data is available on the net. Okay. All right. So this is normal scenario that happens. Okay, and then these elements or malware are of huge number, of a large number of types, right? And these are all increasing day by day, and new types of malware are coming. And we would have heard about these trapdoors or backdoors that we discussed just now. There's logic bombs. Logic bombs are something that they explode after some time. So if cyber criminal is able to get into the system, it will plant a software and it will say that on certain point in time, this software will activate something. For example, it will encrypt the whole hard disk of company, or it will destroy the data. It's like a bomb. On certain date and point, they can explode. And usually these are the work of insiders, like disgruntled employee who is not happy leaving company or has been sacked can put this kind of bombs inside. Then there is something called Trojan horse. Trojan horse is something that looks like a nice thing. I mean, for example, you may be downloading a song, for example, and that song from outside looks like a song, but inside may have a code, and that will be a malware or virus or something, right? Botnet we have already discussed. Then, of course, most of us have experienced viruses. Okay, the viruses, one beauty is that they need a carrier to come to the target. It's like coronavirus, right? If you're just sitting at home, locked yourself up, there's no way corona can come to you. Absolutely no way. Until some friend comes and visits us, carries the coronavirus and transmits to us. So So the viruses need a medium or a carrier to come to a device. However, the worms are smarter. Worms are more intelligent and they can actually go off their own. Okay, so they use say all mechanisms like internet and other protocols, and can actually use this protocol to transmit themselves to some other place. Okay. Similarly, there is something called APT, which is more research oriented way of getting into system, like the example that we have seen just now of big basket, right? So it requires a lot of analysis by criminals and data gathering before attack can be made. And then there are malware which can get into the OS of system and can do all kinds of harms. Okay. Apart from that, there are large number of other things like spyware, ransomware, and adware, and so on. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move ahead then. And then what we have seen are which are heavily used because these are all software based and so on. But there are other kind of threats that can happen, right? Somebody can jam the whole say Wi-Fi device or wireless device, right? There can be ultrasonic sensor spoofing, and then we all of us are using cloud, and cloud is nothing but you can think of as a huge computer. Actually, it consists of say more than few thousands of computers connected to each other and doing work for us, right? For example, we are doing internet query or whatever, then the task is executed over thousands of computers, result is gathered and sent to us, right? So what we see is a cloud in a virtual form, but inside it has a millions of computers that is doing. And what happens is inside that is that data is protected in such a way is one user cannot see others data, but there's a lot of criminal activities are happening out there, right? If a cyber criminal is able to get into a data center that provides cloud, then it can see lot of things happening, and it can do a lot of harm to users. Okay, and apart from that, there are cyber activities of phishing, IoT hijacking, man in the middle attacks, protocol. Many times protocols are designed which are not very robust, so it can cause it can cause it. So cyber criminals can easily get to know these vulnerabilities and exploit this. Okay, where are we now? Okay, just a minute. Can you see this slide? There are devices not designed to be secure. Okay.
So we can see the man in middle image.
Okay, man in the middle.
Thread,
Okay.
landscape,
Okay.
others.
Okay. All right. Let me just. There's little delay, I think. Let me just. Okay. I think it should come. All right. So there are devices. Let me just speak it out. I'm gonna hope screen also becomes okay. All right. So devices very often devices are not designed to be secure. Okay. So when we say device security, actually we mean that security of embedded computers in general, right? So apart from embedded computers, there are actuators and sensors, and hacking them is not really a choice, right? I mean, it's very difficult to hack. So what hackers hack is essentially the embedded system that's connected to the device. Okay. Um, so the question is that why these IoT devices are not so secure? Okay. These devices are not secure Because they are not designed to be secure. Why are they not designed to be secure? They are not designed to be secure for one reason, because we are yet not willing to pay money for secure device. Okay, so the question I'm asking is that when we buy something, say when we are buying, say for example, a mobile phone or maybe a camera, okay, do we ask this question, or do we actually look at specification whether it is secure enough? Okay, so most of us are going for features and cheap cost or low cost, right? So most of the users all over the world look at two things: the cost and the features. So what we get, and that feature set does not include the security. Okay, so we are not asking for security, so the people who are designing devices are not providing us. That's one reason. Second thing is that it is extremely difficult to design a pure secure system. Okay, and requires a lot of money and lot of time. Okay, so while if you look at the releases of devices, maybe iPhone or maybe whatever, or maybe cars, okay, then we see that the new models of devices come every few months. It means the release cycle time is now shrunk to quarters. One quarter, that's 3 months, a new product has to come. And then obviously, if you have say 10 million, 100 million lines of code, and you have added another 10 million life of code in the system, so now you have to test 110 million lines of code. Okay, and it is extremely difficult to do in very short period. Okay, and as a result of that, and we may be using software that's developed 10 years back. Okay, and then when you add a new part to something that's old and test only new part, does not mean that you're not introducing new bugs in the old part. Okay, there are millions or billions of ways in which a software can be accessed and functions can be invoked. And most of the companies don't do enough testing, because again, testing is very expensive process. Okay, the code in companies, we call it code coverage. So 100% coverage of the code is almost impossible. No company does it. Okay, and so that's the reason most of the code that we get for embedded devices that are internet connected are not so secure. Okay. Okay, so that's the point. And secondly, these IoT devices are not always developed by great companies like Apple and Microsoft and so on, right? These are developed by very small manufacturers, and they have no clue how to provide security. Uh, and most of these devices, although over internet, have no way of security patching. Patching is a word that we use in industry to send to device a new version of software that contains some bug fixes. So kind of bug fixes on the fly my device can get through patching. Okay, and most of IoT devices are not patched very frequently, right? Only some great companies do patching, because again, it's expensive and customers are not ready to pay for it, right? If you buy, for example, a toy that has embedded computer and internet connected, and the company asks you to pay 100 rupees every quarter for maintenance, you'll say, no, I don't care. My toy, I don't want to pay more money. Okay. So that's the reason these IoT devices have this problem of security. All right. Okay. And of course, as things are becoming more and more complex, security is becoming less and less. Okay. So because more complex things are very difficult to manage and maintain. Okay, and look at this way: an organization has certain number of people. New people keep joining and old people keep leaving, and retaining the knowledge of 110 million lines of code is a big task. Okay, And more complex it becomes, the knowledge retention becomes difficult. Okay, and then you make some changes in a complex system, it it impacts a lot of parts, right? Lot of areas of that code can get impacted. So complexity causes lot of problem. Okay, and as we are adding more and more device code and making any device more and more intelligent, complexity is going up. Okay, and hence these become easy target for cyber criminals. But cyber criminal will look at the device, embedded device, look at the whole code. Okay, they somehow will try to get into the device, looking at manuals and so on and so forth, and then can hack it. So by making device complex, we are simplifying the job of attacker. All right. Now, what we have discussed so far is about computer connected to actuators and so on, some analog device. Thus, we are making digital device or IoT device, and then we need network to connect it. Okay, you would have studied now various networks available. They usually work at layer 2. Okay, it can be Ethernet, it could be some other low PAN, and so on. Okay, but on top of that, the connectivity, true connectivity or end-to-end connectivity is provided by internet. Okay. All right. So now question is that what is internet and why it is not secure? Internet is one that ties various network together. It's a network of network. Okay, internet by itself, if you have wire, plain wire or cable, on that you want to run internet, it cannot run by itself, right? It needs some layer 2 mechanism or Ethernet or the technologies which can access the basic link. Okay, so internet runs at the second level. Is internet of it connects different network. Okay, say for example, it works over GSM, GPRS, or it can work over 3G, and these 3G things will give you, or GPRS will give you radio channels. So on radio channels we can run internet, or on TB cable we can run internet, or on telephone cables, like we have a technology called DSL, which runs over telephone cables. And so internet works on some basic level network. So it means that these threats can come either through internet or underneath network, right? Okay, in general, internet carries data. It's nothing but bits and bytes, and then these and various form of information, like we have voice that we are communicating right now, or video or movies, are converted into bits and bytes. Okay, and then carried over internet packet. Okay, and now let's look at what internet has been designed for. Okay, internet is great network. I think that the biggest invention I think in communication happened so far is, of course, I mean, leave apart radio waves and all those technologies, but in last 30 years is internet. It provides great communication mechanism to each one of us, and then can carry any kind of traffic. The beauty of internet is that it's a communication latency. It means that the delay between two packet sending and receiving could be microsecond or second, but still it will work. It will have bandwidth. It can work with 1 kilobits per second to 100 gigabits per second. It can accept any kind of packet losses. 0 to 90% reliability packet loss can be there. It can work on any technology like optical, wireless, satellite, copper. It can work on any end device. It could be sensors, embedded device that's running internet, or it could be cell phones, it could be data center, and so on. And any kind of application. There are millions of applications are available, and anybody can use it, whether it's 3-year-old child or 80 years old person. Okay, so that's the beauty of internet. And what was internet designed for? Internet designed to connect different networks. It was designed for scalability, so it can cover the whole world. It was designed for flexibility. Even if the link speed is very slow, it can work. If packet drop is high, it can work. So it's designed to be very flexible. Okay, but it was designed to support large number of applications, but it was not designed for secure communication. That was not thought at that point in time. Okay, and that thing is still there, right? The basic protocol of internet, which defines IP packet format and routing protocols like OSPF, BGP, etc., have no mention of security. Okay, and you would have seen this model, wherein layered model, right, where you have different layers like physical layer, data link layer, IP layer, and then we have application layer, that or transport layer. So we have data link layer, IP layer or network layer, then we have transport layer, and then application layer. And then we have seen that in this diagram, there is no mention of security anywhere. Then the question is that how to secure internet then? Okay. Um, since there is no layer corresponding security, then what we are doing now and what people have done is to develop some layers or some protocols that will work along with these basic protocols. Okay. Um, and the whole thing, when we design network internet, it was designed based on thinking that nobody will do any kind of cheating. So it does not have very simple mechanism. Even for example, I may pose as you or send a mail to somebody else. So I can always, in sender IP address, I can put somebody else's sender IP address. Okay, I can. And second thing is that anybody can send packets to anybody else. To any IP destination, you can send mail, whether it's that of president of USA or somebody like us. Anybody can send information to anybody else, right? And there is no check what it contains, packet contains, right? It can contain bomb, it can contain virus, or it can contain whatever. Okay, and similarly, not Ethernet is totally insecure mechanism. There is nothing there for security. So now we have to do a lot of work on top of these basic protocol to create security. And basic mechanism that most of technology uses are either encryption, encrypt the data that's going in the packet and decrypt it at the other end, or encapsulation, put one packet inside other packet. Okay, for example, like you want to send a secret packet or envelope to your friend and it has some details, right? Then you will put that inside a larger packet and then send it to your friend, so nobody can see that inner envelope. Okay, so similarly we can do encapsulation and then encryption. These are the two basic mechanisms we do, and this is done at various layer. We can do it at network layer, or we can do it higher level, transport layer level. Okay, all right, so let's move ahead. Okay, so we have following mechanism that we use very often to secure network. We have IPsec, and then we have TLS or SSL. Okay, of course we also have concept of NAT and firewall. Okay, then question is, how do we provide security? IoT security, what are the basic mechanisms? So of course we can seek, if we can secure the embedded device and also secure the network or internet and underlying layer 2 networks, then we can say that we have achieved some level of security in IoT devices. Okay, any questions so far you have? Any question? Any one of you? Okay, shall we move ahead?
Yeah, I think we can move ahead.
All right. Okay.
There is one question.
Yeah. Okay. Please speak.
So yeah, go ahead.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes. 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 Please.
Uh, very good morning, sir. My name is
Good morning.
Sharad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good
Sir, I
morning.
would like to ask if I want to implement IoT security in a IoT based system, how I will do that? Means how I will practically implement IoT security. If there is
Okay.
any website or tool is there by which I can secure my data.
Okay. So let me complete next 3 slides, and then we will we'll come back to your question, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So the techniques that we have for IoT security are, first thing is that endpoint security. It means that your device, IoT device, must run some software. Okay. For example, it can root antivirus tool, anti-malware tool. It can have firewall. It can have intrusion prevention and detection system. Okay. Intrusion prevention is like, your security guard sitting at the gate and then checking everyone. So any intruder will be prevented from entering, right? So similarly, we can have user ID, password, and then we can have some kind of token. Okay, we can have biometric things. If somebody, when somebody is entering, then maybe fingerprint or whatever. So there are various mechanisms of providing endpoint security. And endpoint security, usually most of us use antivirus and anti-malware. Like mobile device also, I will strongly recommend all of you to have antivirus software. And then we have firewall, right? We can set up firewall in our desktop, also in our router. Okay, and firewalls are actually allow only leak. They will monitor the traffic coming in and going out of your device. Okay, and it will stop any malicious packets that are coming inside. And there are techniques for doing that. Okay, and then we can use of some security protocol that have been developed like IPsec, SSL and TLS. We can use HTTPS. Like when you do browsing, for example, we are browsing, say, to do a very important transaction. For example, we want to fund transfer from one account to another account. Okay, then instead of doing HTTP, we should always do HTTPS. Okay, and HTTPS in general will create encrypted channel for you end to end from your machine or your mobile to the bank's say server. Okay, and once it's encrypted, then it's very hard for some third party or criminal to decipher it or actually see what's happening. Similarly, there is protocol called SSL/TLS. Okay, that is another protocol that uses encryption as well as encapsulation. Okay, so this is also used in HTTPS. Then we can use virtual private networking or VPN we can create between two endpoints. So from here, for example, IIT Goa campus to to whatever point the person is reaching out to. For example, from the campus, I am going to Google server somewhere. Then if it's through VPN, then both ends will have a secure tunnel, right? And that's the role of VPN, is to create that kind of tunnel for packets. So packets when entering VPN will be encrypted, and when they are going out, then they will be decrypted. So that way security is provided. It is possibly the best possible mechanism for security today. Then of course we can use, we can authenticate IoT devices. Like, say, authentication is something that we do always when somebody unknown comes to us, right? If somebody comes to us and says your friend has asked for 1,000 rupees. If some person comes to my home and say my close friend is asking for, say, 1,000 rupees for important work, then first question will ask, who are and then we'll confirm the identity of person calling our friend. Okay, that's called, so we'll authenticate the person. Similarly, an IoT device is, or somebody is asking for some service or want to connect to us, or want to connect to an IoT device, then IoT device need to authenticate that device that's requesting. And that's through various methods, like digital certificate is one. And digital certificate is used largely for public key network authentication. We can use two-factor authentication and many others. IoT data encryption we have already discussed is we can use symmetric encryption or asymmetric encryption. Okay, and then we should become aware of what kind of IoT threats are there, right? So of course this point is valid for people who are making IoT devices, but as a user, say for example of phone, mobile phone or Wi-Fi router, we should also be aware of whether these are being hacked or what are the methods to safeguard it. For example, I have put in a antivirus, anti-malware software in my Wi-Fi router. Okay, then I am sure that it's doing its job, and then it's not really easily hackable. And if it finds any malware, it will block that. Okay, one thing I can, at personal level, we can set very strong passwords. Okay, for example, now in big basket, with a big basket information theft, my password is known, my user ID, my password, my email ID, my home address. Okay, my credit card number, all these are known to cyber criminals. What do I do as a first step? First step is that I need to change my password in that site. So I will keep at least very long password which are not related to my name, which is not 1 2 3 4 5 6, is combination of whatever, combination of like upper letter, case letters, small case letter, digits and special characters, which is not easy to regenerate. Okay, second thing, what I'm going to do, my credit card number is known. I can't do much, or maybe periodically I will ask for new credit card. So I do this every year. Every year I change my credit card. What else we can do once our information leaked out? I'm not, if I have used that password or user ID and password in any other account, I should immediately change it. Never do this mistake of using same user ID password in different accounts. Okay, so this is another thing that we are going to do very frequently. And then try to set two level of authentication in Google account, many others, right? Never save your password. For example, see, if we have 100 passwords of the 100 accounts, we'll write it down somewhere and in a file. And if the file is available in your mobile, then this you're not doing the right thing. Okay. Next thing that you can do is that every device that comes that has internet in it has user ID password. Remember this, whether it's a light bulb or it is a microwave oven or refrigerator or car, it will always have user ID password. You need to set that user ID for the device. And of course, Wi-Fi routers have two passwords. As I mentioned earlier, you set to both passwords. Okay. Next thing is that when these companies, that developed embedded device for you or IoT device for you, they are changing their software very frequently because they know what are the security holes. And then we need to update the software very frequently, right? And same thing is true on your laptop. Whatever OS you have, please keep updating because it will update. It will have, security patches as well. All right. Use VPN. We mentioned it earlier. It does not cost much. For my laptop, I have bought one VPN which does not cost more than say 2,000 rupees for 1 year. In fact, you can get cheaper ones also. Don't ever go malicious, use malicious websites, right? I mean, if you go to unknown websites, they can install, they can, push some code into your mobile or your laptop without even you knowing it, right? So they can install malware into your device. And that is most of the time we get malware by this way. And second most common way of getting malware is that you got an email, okay, and then it has some attachment, and you click on that attachment, and then it's nothing but a malware or virus. Okay, so if email comes from unknown sources, and if still you want to read it, then first run some kind of antivirus software, okay, and then open it. And thirdly, you need to never open attachments from email coming from unknown sources. Okay, and then your machine is full of ancient protocols. If you're technical enough, you can delete FTP and Telnet. These are not of use nowadays. Okay, so these have a lot of security holes. And the last point that we have is that secure all sensitive information. Okay, that never use hard-coded, hard code, or put it in a code or any document your user ID and passwords. Okay, never ever kept in Google Drive and Google Photo. Okay, and the last suggestion that comes is try to give least amount of information on social media sites like your Facebook. I mean, most of the people have their name, birthdays, address, their personal photos, ID card number, mobile number. All this is there on say Facebook, right? And that, so cyber criminals, when they are doing intelligent attack on somebody, the first phase, as we mentioned, is information collection. So they can collect some information from here and there about you, and then make a final attack, okay, based on all the information knowledge that they have. All right, so these are the main points about IoT security. There are some references given at the end. If you're interested, you may want to go to those references. So I'm happy to take any question if you have. Okay, I am here. You can see me. Any question?
So maybe I'll begin by asking one question on behalf of all the participants.
Sure.
That if say, so there are many aspects of security. There are passwords, there are configuration related device configuration related aspects, user management related aspects, networking related aspects. So if say somebody is interested in doing some real hands-on work on IoT security, where should they start?
Okay, I mean, it depends, what kind of IoT security work they want to do. At a research level, they can always look at the protocols that provide security in IoT devices. Like, I mean, protocols remain the same. For example, some form of, say, TLS. Okay, whether recently I've seen a paper which was trying to prove that TLS is too heavy a protocol to run on IoT devices, and then we need to simplify that. See, IoT devices, in my opinion, in my understanding, has many shortcomings, like because they don't have enough computing power often, because the main role of IoT device is not to do computing but support the device or make it more intelligent. So there is a problem of enough memory, enough computing power, and many others, right? So these protocols which are not designed for IoT can be simplified in some sense. That's one possible way. Second is to how to actually integrate the old methods. For example, even how to have a very lightweight firewall that can run over IoT devices. Some of these things. So also, of course, it depends on what kind of IoT device it is, whether it's very powerful or or very elementary. For example, if I have a camera, home security camera, then security mechanism I may want to use could be different, right? Depending on the IoT device itself. But the basic mechanisms remain the same for normal security on say for example laptop or desktop security and IoT security, but the form and some protocols may change. But finally, based on this same simple mechanism of encryption, encapsulation, authentication, and so on.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So maybe I'll yes, Pranav, go ahead with your question.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, I would like to discuss one scenario in which
Yes.
I am having multiple medical devices and I am sharing their data over the internet by making
Okay.
of IoT. So
Yes.
I just want to make sure whichever data getting uploaded over the internet, it should not be visible to any third party. So,
Yes.
so how I will secure that data? If there is any website or is there any program is there, or just I have to make use of a protocol?
You see, in your case, you cannot do anything because it's an embedded device. Okay, and then it has embedded security protocols. Running internet. So the very little control you have in your hand.
Okay.
If you buy it from a manufacturer, if you design your own device, then of course you have. All we can do when we are buying IoT device is see what kind of protection it provides, whether it has enabled encryption, whether is running some other kind of software to make it more secure. All that we can do. But once we have bought a camera, for example, home security camera, most of the code is for an ordinary user, a person. You can't even reverse engineering the code. You can't see exactly what it's doing. So you have to rely largely on the specification of the device that you purchase. That's all. And you buy the one which provides the security.
Okay.
That's my understanding, because I bought a router. Actually, I spent 20,000 rupees to buy a router to see its code, and I couldn't. Of course, it's in binary. I want to reverse engineer and do something around it, and I just couldn't do anything. They don't give you any provision to do anything. Only thing is that when you buy a device, then only then you can see it has a firewall or whatever. Not later, you can't do much. That's
Uh,
my understanding.
okay. Sir, can you suggest any online tool or any website which ensures IoT security? If I'm building an IoT system, can you suggest can you suggest any website or tool which helps me to secure the IoT security?
See, there I have gone through some papers, and they mention large number of tools. What are the ways IoT devices can be hacked, and then work around that. So maybe if you send me email, then I will send you a few links to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, any other question? Please feel free to ask me. Whatever I know, I can always answer. Okay, then thank you very much. Feel free to get back to me if you have any question at any point in time.
Professor Mittal, are you there? I think he got disconnected. So maybe I will answer the question. So one question that is there is attendance link I will give to you at the end of the session. Please don't worry. From PhD point of view, can have highlights. From PhD point of view, you have multiple topics in security. For instance, for the password itself, how to design stronger passwords. That is a PhD topic. Then how to authenticate the secure execution of a program. That is a PhD topic. So there are quite a number of PhD related topics. One thing that I wanted to mention to all of you is yesterday you learned about MQTT. So there is an implementation called Wolf MQTT, which implements TLS on MQTT. Okay, so it's meant for secure MQTT communication. So you can look at it in GitHub. If you just search for this on Google, you will find the link, and that you can try. If you purchase IoT devices from third parties, you can't do anything because third parties devices are products. So you can't change, say, the LG TV in your home. Similarly, if you purchase a smart bulb or a smart meter from a particular company, you can't make any changes to it. In general, okay, unless sometimes they may expose something if they wish, so that some APIs or some functions, but that is a rare case. If it's a product, you in 99.99% of the cases you can't do anything, you can't make any changes. Okay, so I'll give you the link for attendance. Just hang on a minute. So some of these links like Wolf MQTT and all, I'll send you when I send you the resources tonight, and then you can refer to them. So those are Python libraries or C libraries with Python bindings and things like that. So if you have started based on the last 4 hands-on sessions, if you start doing some development in Python, you would be able to make use of these kind of libraries to make your communication secure. So if you're using Raspberry Pi or things other platforms or Espressif, you can at least try implementing Wolf MQTT to learn about secure communication. There are also concepts like secure firmware upgrade. So when your OS, say you have an IoT device which has some basic OS like Quantiki or others that we saw earlier, and you want to ensure that your device only runs secure code, okay, then there should be a mechanism to authenticate those secure codes. So there are such mechanisms also, some packages developed for IoT. We may not support all IoT devices, but some may be supported. So I will send you such link. So the idea of the concept of secure boot is applicable to normal computing systems as well as to IoT devices. Okay. Okay. We will end this session, and